Ferguson Mitchell with ESFI World bringing you a recap of GSL Season 3 Code S Round of 16. Group A kicked off with a fast 3-game set between Incredible Miracles MVP and Liquid's Taja. Taja was able to beat last season's champ with superior army control in Game 1, as well as astounding drop defense to shut down the aggressive heavy harass style of MVP in Game 3. The second match of the night featured two Code S newcomers, the Protoss player Seed and the Surgeon Zerg Violet. Seed began the series with a strong mid-game Stalker Immortal Sentry push, utilizing great force fields to easily win engagements and do massive damage. Violet fought back in Game 2 with strong roach pressure and Ling reinforcements to kill Seed's army and even up the series. Seed took back the series with a Stalker Sentry push that eventually fought its way to Violet's natural for the victory. The winner's match between Taja and Seed was a quick one in which Seed went for a traditional 4-gate in Game 1, resulting in a quick victory when the Protoss army reached the unfinished bunkers of Taja. Once again in Game 2, Seed utilized his great control over the Gateway army to do massive damage to Taja and eventually push into the Terran natural to claim victory and the first spot in the round of 8. The losers match between MVP and Violet began with a long war on Whirlwind. Both players began with macro in mind as they expanded and played defensively up to the 10-minute mark. MVP applied some pressure Hellions and Banshees with decent success, while Violet teched to Mutas and Infestors. Once Violet had a decent army, he engaged with MVP's force, trading well with the Banelings and Infestors, and beginning Ultra Tech. With the Ultras, Violet attacked again, but this time with much less success, as MVP is able to clean it up with ease. Broodlords then enter the scene and do great damage to the unprepared Terran forces, but MVP still holds on by distracting the Zerg with constant drops, taking out drones and bases with continued drop aggression. Eventually, Violet hit a critical mass of Broodlords and was able to slowly crush the remaining Terran force and production buildings, securing the GG. Game 2 was much less drawn out, with MVP beginning with Hellion Banshee pressure into Mech. Upon scouting this, Violet goes for a Roach drop which decimates the Terran army and ensures Violet's advancement to match 5. The final match of Group A was between Liquid Taja and Empire Violet. Taja engaged with a 2-prong attack that did massive damage due to Violet's army being split and lack of infestors, but Taja also lost most of his army. Violet remaxes with Ultras and Infestors and chews through the Terran force and base for a Game 1 victory. Violet then began Game 2 strong with a Roach pressure in the Terran natural, resulting in multiple SCV kills. Taja responded with Banshees and drops, which proved to be annoying for the Zerg player, with Taja even sniping the Evolution Chamber and Spawning Pool. The damage from these drops gave Taja the lead necessary to stomp the Zerg units to even up the series. Daybreak was the stage for Game 3 as both players went for fast expansions. Taja utilized more drop aggression to dictate the tempo of the game until the mid-game, when the Terran was able to kill off all of Violet's Infestors and Ultralisks. Taja then used his army advantage to kill Violet's expansion and kill off a flock of Broodlords. With this win, Taja climbs to the second Group A spot and advances to the round of 8. Group B was this round's group of death with Code S veterans Squirtle, MC, and Marine King, along with the up-and-coming Zerg Symbol, battling for 2 round of 8 spots. Match 1 began with Startail Squirtle duking it out against Team SCV Life's Symbol. In Game 1, Squirtle went for a Stargate opening with Phoenixes, dealing heavy damage and forcing a Hydra Den from Symbol. Squirtle then transitioned to Colossus, and when range finished, he unleashed a huge attack upon the Zerg, crippling the army and eventually killing the entire Roach army for the GG. In Game 2, Squirtle rushed upgrades and went for a Blink Stalker Sentry push, dealing massive damage at the 3rd base, and eventually clashing with the Roach army with +3 attack. This huge upgrade advantage, along with flanking reinforcements, easily won the fight, and the match for last season's runner-up. Match 2 saw the clash of 2 Titans in Marine King and the Boss Toss MC. In the first game, Marine King Prime attempted some 1-base aggression with drops, but MC scouted the incoming medevac and prepared accordingly, but low-ground siege tanks kept MC on the defensive. The Terran force attempted to come up the ramp, but MC's force fields cut off the Marines, earning lots of free kills and a victory in Game 1. Antica's Shipyard set the stage for Game 2, with MC going for a Blink Stalker build against the CC first of MKP. Marine King was able to scout this, but the bunkers were not finished in time to stop the perfectly microed Stalker force. MC defeated MKP 2-0 and advanced to the winner's match to play Squirtle. Group B's winner match was an epic PvP between 2 of the best Protoss players in the world, MC and Squirtle. On Entombed Valley, the Protosses went different tech routes, with MC going for Immortals and Squirtle teching towards Blink. Squirtle used a small Stalker force to keep MC in base for a while, delaying his expansion. Squirtle used these Stalkers to buy enough time to let his earlier expansion kick in and build a large Stalker army, and use the smaller force to flank MC's eventual attack and get a Game 1 win. In Game 2, Squirtle goes for the 4-gate and MC missed the proxy pylon. When Squirtle hits, MC is unable to keep him out, and Startail players' units kill off the pylon, powering the robotics facility and stop Immortal production. MC is able to repower the Robo, and once the Immortal finishes, MC is able to micro his way out of this bad situation, eventually pushing back with DT drops and his Immortal force for GG. Game 3 was much closer, with both players going Robo. When Squirtle pushed out for an attack, MC had just enough to defend and kill the Colossus, resulting in a victory and the first Group B spot in the round of 8. Symbol got to show his ZVT skills in match 4 as he gets a quick win in Game 1 with his 2-hatch before pool Swarm Zerg style, which overran the lower econ Terran and led to a 1-0 lead for Symbol. Marine King was able to take the series back in Game 2 with loads of aggression, drops, and harassment. Eventually, MKP was able to starve out the Zerg player by forcing bad trades and not letting Symbol get another hatchery, leading to a GG. In Game 3, Symbol was able to get an early base lead and hold onto it with nice defense until his Broodlords were too much for the Terran. Symbol then faced the eager Squirtle in a battle for the second Group B spot, but the Zerg player was able to make it a quick 2-0, utilizing a slightly newer ZVP style involving roach drops to make any fights on his terms. In Group B, the Zerg player Symbol and the Obama Toss MC advanced to the round of 8. With Tasteless and Artosis back from London, Group C began. The old Protoss rivals Genius and Quanix Naniwa began the group with a proxy gate in Naniwa's natural on an Antigua shipyard. The Zealots hit Nani's base and the Quantic player attempted a base trade, but Genius prepared cannons in his base to defend and ensure a Game 1 win. Naniwa wouldn't go down easily, and in Game 2 he fought back with brilliant base defense despite going for a fast expand against the Stargate of Genius. He held his base and used his Econ edge to slowly crush the teamless Protoss. In Game 3, Genius went for an aggressive Blink Obs build which punished the expanding Naniwa till he had to surrender. Next, Keenan Ghost King, also known as Bjorn, then fought in a long TVT series with Bjorn showing off his great macro and army positioning to defeat the MVP Terran in a scrappy 3-game set. In the winners match, Ghost King faced Genius and utilized Reaper Harass to soften up the Protoss economy for an early push. The two armies missed each other midfield and were forced to base race with heavy favor for the guy with the floating buildings. Game 2 saw Genius tie the series up with solid macro play and army control to catch Bjorn's army at the perfect time. In the final game, Bjorn showed a scrappy game, forcing engagements frequently and trading effectively until there is too much for the Protoss to take. Ghost King claims the first spot from Group C in the round of 8. Naniwa then played Keenan in a quick 2-0 game in which Nani showed how great army control can drastically change the tide of the game. The Protoss used his micro skills to claim victory over the Terran and a chance at the next round of 8 spot. Match 5 was a rematch between Naniwa and Genius, but this time, Nani was able to come out ahead. In Game 1, things were looking bad for the Foreign Hope, but his sick Colossus control turned the final engagement from a losing battle into a victory march. Genius then evened up the series in a micro-intensive Game 2, but lost it when Naniwa utilized his great micro to make up for a massive drone loss earlier on and claimed the final Group C round of 8 spot along with Ghost King Prime. In Group D of the round of 16, Slayers Ryung and MVP Dong Regu faced for match 1. Ryung took a lengthy Game 1 by utilizing just about every Terran unit, from Marine Marauder Medevac to Siege Tanks and Vikings, and eventually even a Raven Battlecruiser composition, utilizing Seeker missiles to destroy the clumped up Broodlords of DRG. The Zerg player fought back with an aggressive style, constantly bringing the fight to the Terran base where he racked up kills until the GG. In Game 3, Ryung attempted an odd Banshee and SCV all-in, which was stopped by DRG. In match 2, Nesty went for a high econ game, throwing down 2 hatcheries before a spawning pool against his Terran player Supernova. Nesty used his Roachling army to keep the Terran on the defensive as he ramped up to 6 hatcheries and eventually teched to Broodlords to crush Supernova like a peach on a summer's morning. In Game 2, Nesty was able to easily defend the Hellion Marauder timing to easily advance to the winners match. In a back-and-forth ZVZ, Dong Regu stands the victor by beating Nesty in a close 2-1 series. In Game 1, DRG went for Banelings, while Nesty went for Roaches, but despite his later Roach tech, DRG was able to hold on by getting plus ranged attack upgrades and perfectly timed Spine Crawlers. Game 2 was a build order win as Nesty went for a 10 pool against the hatched first of DRG, resulting in 32 Speedlings against just Queens. In Game 3, DRG proved the strength of the Baneling nest as he took the lead against the Roaches of Nest T and crushed his third to earn the first Group D spot in the round of 8. In match 4, Supernova showed his adept Terran skills as he utilized unique strats and good army control to take down Ryung in 3 games. In Game 1, Supernova was able to catch Ryung's army in a bad spot and take the early win. but Ryung fought back with perfectly executed mech play in Game 2. Supernova then attempted a unique Reaper Hellion medevac build, which resulted in an early lead that he used along with Marine aggression to crush through the opposing Terran force. In the final match of the round of 16, Nesty was able to shut down the bunker rush and fight his way to late game, whereas Mutas, Lings, Banelings, and Ultras were able to tear through any Terran in their way. Eventually, the fight transitioned to air, and despite nice Seeker missiles, Nesty takes Game 1. The second game saw Supernova take advantage of bad engagements by the Zerg to take a small lead in the late game. Both players get +3/+3 upgrades and max out, and despite great fungals by Nesty, Supernova's army was able to stop the Zerg and bring the series to a Game 3. Nesty was finished messing around and went for a 10 pull in the final game against the CC first of Supernova, even pulling drones to ensure the win. Nesty utilized every tool in his arsenal to be the last player to advance to the round of 8. The GSL Season 3 Round of 8 begins on July 11th at 6:10 KST with IMC facing TSL Symbol and SKMC against Liquid Tasia, then continues the same time the next day with Beyond Prime battling LGIM Nesty and Quanic Naniwa taking on MVP Dongregu. That'll do it for Round of 16 of Code S. Don't forget to check us out when we cover the Round of 8. For more coverage and news around esports, find us on Twitter at ESFI and on the web at esfiworld.com. Until next time, this has been Ferguson Mitchell with ESFI World.